Alex going first.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Coach's Corner here in Tulsa. Trigger, Pars, can y'all hear me?
I think so. Yeah.
There.
I think so.
Joined by the two other members of the Coach's Corner. Get in here, Pars. All right, it's the other way. Here we go.
Oh my God.
Yeah. In Tulsa, we're together for the CGN tournament, so we thought we'd go ahead and do a little podcast together, kind of talk about the upcoming RFCL season. But yeah, so I guess let's get into the Coaches Bowl.
Well, can
Let's do
we?
it. And then we're going to bring in some other guests that we've got here that's going to talk about it as well.
Let's bring in these guests real quick.
All right.
Get them sitting
I
down.
reckon I'll go first. We've really already went over kind of the whole thing. I guess we could say, where we think they should have been, or if it was a good ranking, or how they're going to do this year.
Yeah.
So I'll start with Central Oklahoma. They deserve to be there.
Great
They won
ranking.
fair and square.
Great ranking.
Yeah, I think they should be first. Second, now, Coastal loses a big piece, right?
Big piece.
What do y'all expect them to do this year?
After seeing that pocket passer, probably amazing things.
They're gonna
Speaking
win
of
the
guests,
Hey, we got the head coach right here.
let's
So
go ahead and pull in both guests
so-
here.
And we also have one of the coordinators for Central Oklahoma,
What's up, brothers?
Mr. Sexman here. So I guess we'll start with you, Gage. How do you feel about your upcoming season?
I mean, I feel pretty good, to be honest. If you look at who cost us the championship last year, he's gone. So I feel pretty good.
How do you feel about his replacement?
From what I've seen in official scrims that have taken place,
Official.
he can throw the ball pretty well, and that's kind of what we want.
Yeah.
We have the pieces on the ground. We need somebody that can throw the ball. So
And I guess we skipped Central Oklahoma, so we need to go back to one of the coordinators himself. So how do you feel about the upcoming season?
Blake and I just kind of ran a little scrimmage, and I just, I set the tone. It's not very hard, for me to set the tone and keep my piss hot. That's just something that I'm used to at this point, and I'm excited to, get out to Edmond and get to work.
And let me clear the air. It was an unofficial scrim.
Oh,
It
it
was
was-
not an official scrim, okay? And y'all got anything on those two teams?
UCO, deserved spot. Coastal Carolina kind of should have a good year. I think two maybe a little high to start the year, but they'll be top four probably in the season pretty easy.
I was one of the exclusive people that saw that official scrim with Hoffman, and he's the best quarterback in the whole freaking league. So we're gonna have to watch out for that because I think they might be better.
Well, with that being said, we got number 3. Obviously, can't really talk about myself, so I'll kind of let y'all be honest about the team, which I know is going to be nothing but great things.
Oh, for once you won't talk about yourself? That's great. No, Montana's looking good. That offense is fantastic. BT, 400-pound wide receiver, looking fantastic out there, running people over. One-handed catches on screens that make absolutely zero sense. Other than that, defense looks all right, but offense looks fantastic.
3's too high. Prove it. Prove it.
Anything from the
Coach
guests?
Gage?
I mean, Montana came on strong in the playoffs last year. I think they found their stride offensively, and that was a huge help. So if they can keep that momentum going, then 3 might be the right spot for them.
To be quite honest, I think they didn't have an identity. They lost that identity. So I think 3 is just a tad bit too high. I'd say top 5 is where I'd put them. They got to go and earn it. I agree with Trigger. It's a prove it time. Prove your identity. Prove what you have with your squad.
Do you think they should have stayed at the Wildcat like I did? I thought they should have stayed more Wildcat last year.
Yeah, I think they should have ran the Wildcat every single snap because I would have stayed in cover 3.
Well, guess what? It's coming.
Uh-oh.
Anyways, on to number 4, we've got UConn, Mr. Pars himself. How do you feel about the upcoming season?
I feel good. I mean, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sit here and talk about my team, but I feel really good. George is a lot better now. He'll still probably be blind, but that's just his problem. And the fact that I recruited a blind quarterback. Other than that, I feel pretty good.
4's pretty good spot, maybe a little higher. I have them at 2 on my list. Saw the season last year. Recently, they won't do it again, and they have about the same pieces coming back, so should be about the same season as they had last year.
Yeah, and I think UConn was just a solid team all
Very
last year. They
solid.
were just consistent. Even though they did get put out by USM, they're still a great, solid team. Anyways, Coach Gage?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, they don't really lose too many pieces. They kind of keep the main essence of their team, so I would expect them to be another top 4 team this year.
I'm really looking forward, I guess, to seeing how the departure of Ender affects this team. It's really hard when you lose a coordinator, especially an offensive coordinator, which didn't seem like they existed in the first 3 weeks as we
It's
were
true.
before sliders. And that's whenever I played pars and the UConn squad. So I think it's kind of up in the air. I think they deserve their ranking, but I think it's another one of those. Hey, can you do it again? Can you do it again?
I will say, to be fair, when you said OCs didn't exist for the first 3 weeks, he quit week 3. So it's just like I went
He
4,
still may not
5,
exist,
6,
we don't know
7.
yet.
Yeah, I don't know if he's actually there.
All right, so we got 5, which is Coach Trigger's team himself. You got any words on your team going into the season?
I'm excited. Be a lot better. I think same as Montana. Prove it. We came on strong in the season with 2 big wins and pushed UCO. Then I don't know who they used to be anymore. UCO now pushed them to the very brink in the playoffs. So prove it again for Georgetown. 5's probably about right, but we're excited. We're pumped. We're
Yeah,
very
the
ready to go.
big recruiting class, Abba Yosef, Derrick Henry.
We've got everywhere we need it. We filled the spot. So we are solid everywhere. Very strong all around. Defense was better than I thought they were going to be overall wise. So very excited, according to their advice, to have a better defense on his hands.
Yeah, and I think 5 is a great spot, even though I think Georgetown this year is going to be a top 4 team. Anyways, pars.
I think Georgetown's good at 5. I do believe that their defense is still a bit slow, corner-wise. So, there's still some holes there when everyone else got, 84, 86 overall corners. They really didn't, and so they still have a bit of a slow defense. Bobby Boucher can actually cover a pass from now on. Other than that,
6
though,
picks last year.
yeah.
With no coverage.
Other
skills.
than that, though,
40 overall catching, or 40 overall coverage.
2 brand new quarterbacks into their system, so we'll have to see how that works. Probably the fastest player in RFCL at wide receiver. So I think it's going to be a good team. I had them around. I always give that team a little bit higher, but they could be under App State or over App State in my head. I don't know.
Gage.
Yeah, I mean, last year their struggle was basically at the quarterback position. You bring back, you had the coordinator of the year, Bossy with DC. So ultimately, I mean, Georgetown's going to be a good team, but the only thing I fear with them is, like I said, they missed the quarterback last year. They bring in a 5-star. What we saw last year with last year's 5-star QBs was they're either really hot or they're really not. And being able to find consistency with Abra is going to be key.
To be quite honest, if there was a tone-setting trophy and I would hand it out, I would have handed it out to Vicey in the Georgetown school. I mean, he's someone that exemplifies a good DC and somebody that you want to rely on. But
Carried us first couple weeks.
But I like him here at 5. I think these top 5 are real interchangeable, and I think it drops off to another tier, and then after that, another tier as well.
So we're at 6. And this year in college football, everyone's talking about Texas Tech. All this hype around Texas Tech. Like, what's the deal with that? That makes me think of App State. What is the hype about App State?
The sheer amount of new players they brought in. They recruited their tails off. I think they're one of the only people to bring in 8 recruits.
Yep.
They brought in all 8 recruits, one of the only teams, and their raffles were insane. So wide receiver wise, I believe they brought in 3 transfers, and they got 1 or 2 recruits out of that too.
We got time.
So it's just the amount that they brought in of talent. These guys could be the best in the game. They could easily be the best, and they can easily be the worst. I have no idea what we're getting from them. App was the worst team last year. They could easily do it again. It's all up to Nicotine and Mason, in my opinion. Monarch's going to do his thing, and we have to see how that offense works.
Yeah, it's just a situation where you've got the athletes, now you got to do the coaching. If you can do that, you'll be a top 3 team.
Yeah, so I think they're too low preseason. Their recruiting class was crazy before the raffles. Every spot they needed, they filled immediately. So kind of like Slickman is saying, there's a tier after 5. I think App State's in that top tier or has potential to be at least. You can prove it. There's a lot of prove it this year for a lot of teams, I think. So they're one of them, but I think they have potential to win a championship or be top 2 pretty easily.
Yeah. You go ahead.
No, you go. That's the order we've been going.
So nice people.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, Blake, there's a lot of hype around App State's class. Everybody's like, oh, App State got a whole lot better. They brought in a whole lot of talent. Well, so did everybody else, pretty much. Now, there's not as many leaps and bounds made by other teams compared to what App State did, but the talent level across the board, everybody improved. So, I'm not buying it.
Okay.
I don't really know where to go with App State. Love the staff. Absolutely love them. I love Nicotine. I love Mason. But I love them as people. I don't know how the football aspect is going to translate. And that's with a lot of these players. They could have good players, but everything's on paper right now. And Mason could clip this and send it back to me, but I think they deserve to be down here. I think their ranking is deservedly. I think these rankings are actually really, really good, but there's this tier that's kind of unknown, and that's where I think NDSU and App State stack up, and we're going to talk about them here after this.
Yeah, and with that being said, NDSU at 7 kind of falls in the same category. They have one coach who's only coached 3 games at an offensive coordinator spot, has now got a head coach role, and has hired 2 coordinators that haven't even coached a game yet. But also, just like App State, has brought in a great class. So it's also in the same thing. You've got great athletes. Can you coach? Can you put together a game plan and actually win games?
I think it's a bit different just based off of them coming in and only having 1 recruiting class while App has 2. So App already has those guys getting better going into their sophomore year. NDSU didn't really participate. I mean, they were in the raffle. They were in the Power 5 transfers. But they didn't get as much as everybody else, if I can remember. I think Fiction came in and was doing that for them.
Yeah, I think Fiction did get some recruits.
Other than that, though, I've played against the base roster, so I'm happy with where they're at. They got to prove it. They got to show that they got a bunch of 5 stars. What can they even do with them?
Parse the nail. Hit the nail on the head there. Hit the nail on the head there. Got to prove it a lot. Coach League's a different animal than User League. So they might have a couple extra players, but it's only 1 recruiting class, and they've not played Coaches League for a full season. So they're going to have to figure it out quick, or they could end up down pretty low.
Yeah, I will say North Dakota State, probably the most underrated team on my radar at least. In my opinion, their roster they started out with was pretty good. I've used that roster a couple times for a couple of different things between Gridiron and Play Now and even a coach mode scrim. And when you go and you look at the 5 stars they added them at positions where you need talent. A quarterback, I believe, a wide receiver, 2 safeties, or a safety in a corner. So it's not like they added 5 stars that really aren't going to make an impact. They added 5 stars where they can let them go play and then focus on other things with the play caller, and then kind of know you have that cushion in the back end or out wide.
Yeah, so like I said, kind of unknown. A lot of hype, a lot of talent, but we're all on paper. And I don't want to sound like a broken record and constantly repeat, but let's see if the coaching can translate. Let's see if the personalities can fuse with the players. So.
Well, and that brings us to the most controversial coaching staff in the whole RFCL. A team that's got an athletic director in Nismo. Head coach is Pete, has freshly new hired coordinator Lone Star, as well as Rock Chalk.
No,
No,
Rock
he's
Chalk's the
Miami.
head coach of Miami. I
So
apologize.
new we don't even know.
Technical difficulties. Bucky.
Bucky, yeah, new on the scene. I've been in chats with him. He's watched some of our games and stuff. He's got an idea of how it goes, but not, doesn't have kind of an understanding of when to call plays. So if he can get that figured out, he has a great team to work with, and in my opinion, has a great quarterback. They made a late season push last year, but everyone else has stacked up on recruits. So they really didn't. I don't really think they got very many guys in postseason, did they? On signing day?
Not really.
No.
So, when we talk about UCA, I've been critical of them ever since last season when Twist and Sexman had them. I was critical of the team then because I didn't think that team, as a base roster, was very good. But when it left Twist and Hunter and went on to Nismo and Pete, I felt like that was even harder. So this is one team where I like the coaches. I'm a big fan of Bucky. I think he's going to be fantastic. Pete, I like him. And Lone Star's a good DC. The problem is that I have absolutely zero faith in this team. Like, this is the one team I have at 10. I have zero faith in this team. It's not even the coaches. Love them to death. Bucky, brand new. I think he's done 1 scrim, 2 scrims max.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't exactly know what he's doing. And I've said this to him, and he's fine with that. He needs to learn. He's very pass happy. Doesn't understand how to get the guy hot. And I think it's going to be a problem for at least the first 3 to 4 weeks.
Parker Howe has to have a giant year for them to survive. That's really all I can say about UCA right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same breath. Like, if they don't find an identity, and I talked to them about this after we beat them in the semis, they're going to have to find who they are, or they're just going to be downhill after that.
This is my former team, so it kind of hurts just a tad. There's a piece of my heart that's, still there. I'm rooting for these guys. But with that being said, the coaching carousel there has been doing numbers. It's just something that I'm not comfortable with.
Can you speak on the administration at UCA? Is there something kind of odd over there? Something going on?
When you sign an NDA, you sign an NDA.
Okay.
Paperwork keeps getting lost.
So, I think what I believe is they have a lot of potential, but I don't think they're where they need to be yet. This is a team that I have at 10, but I'm ultimately not a head coach, so I didn't get to make these rankings. I didn't get to send in my poll.
Hey, Trigger, have you checked anything anyone said?
Nope.
Yeah.
But I think they have potential. I think their ceiling is number 7 and their floor is number 10. And realistically, they're at number 10 until they show me otherwise. They got to have something, and it starts with a C, and it's called consistency. And when you have that, then you can finally build. But once I see the same coordinator go 2 weeks in the Discord, that's whenever I'll start to rate them a little higher.
Which brings us to number 9, a very controversial place, Upper Iowa at 9. Do y'all think they deserve that?
Not at all. And I'll let you speak, and then I'll go like usual, but not at all.
Just a consistent team. Wasn't very flashy. I think that's kind of what got them put down there, but also a team that could easily be in the top 5. But, a little bit of disrespect, especially when Sneak had a great season, in my opinion. Last year got put out first round, but, he could have just as well moved on to the second round. But
Here's my thing. So the only recruit Sneak got was 5-star Barry McCocker. Now,
Barry who?
I can't. I'm not going to say it again.
Still hurts.
But when we talk about that, we got to talk about the other 5-star coming in the door. Vlad is here. The 5-star wide receiver, Vlad, don't know his last name, is coming to Upper Iowa as well as the recruits they got in the transfer portal. So we're talking, 2-3 running backs? And they used the running back, probably the best in the league last year on paper, which is what a lot of people believe apparently. But they used the running back, probably one of the best in the league last year. They got a couple really good ones, not Zach Armstrong, but they're getting their first ever really good receiver and their first ever really good quarterback, and they kept most of their team. So I think 9's way too low.
Steve made me mad last week, so put him at 11.
That's it from Trigger.
Disrespect my respect. Put him at 11.
Yeah, I'd say, Upper Iowa, I think, is ranked too low. I'd put them probably 7, somewhere in there, maybe 6. But like they said, I mean, very consistent team. I think their problem was they didn't try to put up enough points. I think that's the key to this. If you play conservative, it gets you beat. So ultimately, if they just focus on trying to outscore teams rather than just trying to beat teams, if that makes sense, they'll be a lot better. And also, I think me and Trigger talked about this earlier. Tyler Wetzel may be the best running back in the league.
Is that the backup from last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually is.
Shoots a truck.
He actually is pretty good.
Let me introduce you to Bryce Robinson. Anyways,
I am disappointed in the coaches for allowing this to happen. Now, my shift wouldn't be too high. I think I'd probably swap them with NDSU or UCA. I cannot fathom the coaches that put Upper Iowa down in this bottom tier. But there's only 10 spots. There's 10 teams. You gotta finish. You gotta fill out these rankings somehow. I'm not one to get mad over that kind of stuff. Now I don't really have a lot of room to talk because I'm at the top. But this is a team that brings back an entire staff, and as we see from our previous example, they have the C word. They have consistency. They bring back an entire staff, just like Georgetown. Montana's kind of had a little trouble. So has Georgetown, but
UConn.
or so is UConn. Excuse me. Georgetown is another one of those teams that they bring back their full staff, and I think that's kind of my top tier teams because consistency is huge, and especially in a league where sliders are changing. And who's gonna mesh? That's just what I have to say, I guess.
Hey, don't sleep on Zeke. And that brings us to number 10, Miami, who, in my opinion, is going to be the worst team in the league. They fit the 10 spot. No disrespect, just not going to be a good team.
Now Hunter talks about coaching changes and consistency. I've never seen more coaching changes before in my life.
The only
than
team that
Miami.
makes more coaching changes than UCA is Miami.
Yes.
They didn't win a game.
They haven't played a game.
They haven't played a game.
Brock Chalk is now the head coach of the team. I don't even know who the offense coordinator and defense coordinator is.
Hey, and guess what? Prove us wrong. Just prove us wrong. You're going to be number 10, but hey, prove me wrong.
And like, what they bring in? 5'3" Mason.
Technically 5'5",
LT?
5'6" was the minimum.
I think they brought in 4 recruits. One was 5-star.
Daniel Thompson.
Good running back. They brought in 3-star lineman and one other guy.
Regardless of the fact, we're looking at a pretty much base roster, and I don't think that's gonna fly here.
Yeah, I mean, prove it. We've seen nothing. Your coaches are in and out. It is what it is. When you figure out the league, you never know. You could light up the world, but most likely you're going to struggle. Like a lot of us did the first few weeks. They put points on the board, and everybody you're playing has figured it out for a whole season. So, I mean, it's a bad circumstance, but it's your first season. Nothing wrong with it.
Good luck.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of SMU coming back from the death penalty. You've been gone for a year. There's just nothing to talk about. Your recruiting class is the only thing that we can talk about, and that wasn't that, substantial. I mean, there are some guys there that can make some names, and like Blake said, prove us wrong, but you can't be mad at this ranking.
No.
Because there's 10 teams, there's going to be 10 rankings, and I believe it'll go 1 through 8, and I think it'll be tied for 10 with UCA and Miami, and that's because they just don't have consistency. They're bringing in coordinators, they're losing coordinators, they're going on searches, and whenever your coordinators are getting fired or leaving voluntarily to just not be in the league at all, it's.
Sounds like a personal issue.
Yeah.
I think if you're talking about administration, you go march your butt up to go see Reed and see what's going on there.
Well, Reed's going to have something to say about everything I just did, so I can't wait to hear it.
And with that being said, though, this is a special episode. That's why it is a little bit longer. We have everybody here in Tulsa. We're going to do a rapid round real quick of the week 1 matchups to get everyone's opinion on who's going to win. Obviously, the kickoff game was supposed to be Central Oklahoma and Coastal, but the first game will be App State, Montana, but we'll still start with Coastal and Central Oklahoma. First game, I think it's going to be the same outcome as the championship game. I think Central Oklahoma is solid. I think Gage also has a solid team and could still have the same explosive offense with the 4-star pocket passer he brought in. But yeah, I still think Central Oklahoma.
I had Caleb in the championship, and I got him week 1.
Gage, you gonna win? Give me Coastal.
I should have asked that question. I should have asked.
Well, Trigger, some people are good liars.
Obviously, you're going to go with his own teams, which moves us to App State and Montana.
Yeah, he's not even going to say it, but Montana. I think App State has a lot to prove, and I just think that Montana offense is going to be better.
Mike, you gonna win?
Hell yeah, we're going to win. That's a stupid question.
Give me
right
App
there.
State. Yes. We gotta get a win or do.
They are due.
And I haven't seen your roster.
I'll just wait.
I've seen.
I'm the
I looked
commissioner.
at App State's roster.
I'm the commissioner. Everyone's
That's true.
99 overall.
I'm going to go – sorry, Blake. I'm going with App State for one reason. I think App State's going to play more aggressive and try to take more risk than Montana is. And I think because it's week 1, all hell will break loose, so give me App State.
Wait, who's your DC?
Cool.
App State's winning. I switched what I just said.
Oh no.
Usually they say, sweep's bad luck, but I'm just having a hard time thinking about Montana winning. But if I know anything, that App State team, they're going to be labbing. They're going to be ready for week 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think App State will take it. And this gives Montana and their staff everything that they need in order to, pull out a victory. So if I'm the straw that breaks the camel's back, I'm glad. But I have faith in Nicotine and Mason, contrary to what I said about them on the rankings.
Rankings don't reflect week to week.
Yeah,
Not at all. Not at all.
Which brings us to UConn and North Dakota State. I'm going to go with the consistent team. I'm going to go with UConn. We haven't seen North Dakota State yet. So, I mean, could be anyone's game, honestly, but this the team I've seen play, going with UConn.
No disrespect to Pars. I don't need to ask. UConn's going to win this game. Consistency. They know what they're doing. I think they figured out the quarterback problems in NDSU we know nothing about. It's hard to say during a game when I don't know what you're going to do. I've seen his offense for 3 weeks, and it wasn't great, but that was different slider time, so.
Yeah, I'm going to go with UConn just out of pure consistency here. I know kind of what to expect with UConn. I don't know what to expect with NDSU. I think it's a close one. I'll probably take NDSU to cover, but give me UConn.
This one is kind of hard for me. I don't know what to think, other than UConn has been consistent. I'm just beating a dead horse here, saying the same thing over and over. But I think UConn's got this one.
Which brings us to Miami, Central Arkansas. I'm going to go Central Arkansas. I mean, Miami's just a terrible team. Bars?
Oh boy, can both teams lose? Central Arkansas, just because it's again Miami's the base roster.
Miami. LT is going to run wild.
Of course.
Absolutely wild.
Give me Parker Howell. Give me UCF.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I'm going with Parker Howe. That man is a beast. Run QB power with him at least 30 times a game.
30.
I messed up. Drop Parker.
Lastly, we got Upper Iowa and Georgetown. I think I predicted earlier. I think I did Upper Iowa. I think I said that Sneak's gonna, be a little bit more aggressive, take some more shots. And with that being said, I'm gonna go Georgetown. Georgetown's going to win the game.
I don't know what you just did. Anyways, we're sitting here talking about Georgetown versus Upper Iowa. I believe FAU won this game last season. But both are coming back better. Both have better players all over the field. Sneak, don't let me down. Don't let Barry down. I'm going Upper Iowa.
How you feel about this?
I'm after Sneak. I made me mad last week. I'm after him.
11.
Feeling good though. Excited about the roster. Very excited about our roster right now.
I'm gonna go with Upper Iowa with a chip on their shoulder. I think it's a very close game too. I think it's probably like 28-24 somewhere in there. But give me Upper Iowa. I think kind of the same situation with App State. They got something to prove. They're gonna take a lot of shots, and it's week 1, so let's have some fun.
Hey, I'm a big choo-choo train enthusiast. G-Town, stay down. I'm going Georgetown. I just think the play styles. I just think Georgetown has them outmatched defensively. I don't think Versa can cook up a game plan that can beat Vicey's game plan on defense. It's just pure play style, and a recruiting class and a transfer class has, I guess, big implications nowadays, since they can be instant starters. You see some kids that are pro ready coming out of high school. So I think Georgetown wins this one, and I don't think it's very close.
Well, with that being said, I think that wraps up. And
I got it.
now that I finally got this over with, finally got to see Pars, we can finally get him out of here.
Oh, shit.